Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Dogs in the Draft presented by Kroger. My name is Connor Riley. I'm joined by Mike Griffith, and today we're talking about a special player during his time in Athens. Might surprise some people to get drafted, but those who pay attention know that this guy is absolutely an NFL level player. We are talking about safety Dan Jackson. This guy began his career as a walk-on, yet over the recent seasons with loaded Georgia defenses, he found himself out there in the biggest moments and late in his career made a lot of big plays for this Georgia defense. So, Mike, what is an NFL team getting in Dan Jackson?
Yeah, I think he's going to be drafted. You know, it's unique for a guy not to be invited to a combine who played in the Senior Bowl. But there's a story behind that. Jim Nagy, longtime NFL scout with Super Bowl teams, Mike Holmgren, Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, was the executive director of the Senior Bowl. And he told me early on, he said, I know this guy's not on a lot of NFL radar, but I've scouted and I like him and I'm bringing him to the game. And doggone Connor, if he wasn't voted the best defensive back by his peers, by the players that had to go against him. So Georgia, the nickname was Dirty Dan Jackson. Well, there's nothing dirty about him outside of the fact he knocked the snot out of you. Not the biggest guy, and that's probably one of the bigger concerns. I think he answered the speed question at Georgia Pro Day. Georgia, by the way, one of the slower tracks when it comes to a 40 time. He runs a 4.45. I think you adjust that to the NFL Combine, it's probably more like a low 4.4 number. That was eye-opening for NFL teams. So while a lot of them aren't going to be talking him up, they're going to hope they can steal him late. That's how NFL teams do it. This is a guy who's going to make a roster. Very high NFL IQ, passion for the game, great hitting ability, can improve in the open field tackling department, no doubt. But on some of those missed tackles he had at Georgia, he was kind of covering from somebody else and covering from some pretty odd angles. So this is a very tough guy, a very assignment sound guy, a very driven guy, and a very capable guy who's already earned the respect of one of the better NFL scouts in recent history. So I think another NFL team is going to like Dan Jackson. I think he's going to be drafted, and I know he's going to be on an NFL roster.
Yeah, it's a guy that just has come in and worked from day one at Georgia. Began his career as a walk-on. Georgia really didn't even scout him that much. He just sort of showed up, and then he kept showing up, and he kept making plays. Was on the field for the famous Keely Ringo pick six in the 2021 National Championship win, Georgia's first since the 1980 season. And he's made plays throughout his career. Played with Lewis Cine, who was a first-round draft pick. Played alongside Malachi Starks, and quite frankly, Dan Jackson made more big plays this season than Malachi. Some of that is because of the sacrifices that Starks made, but it speaks to Dan Jackson's ability. He had an interception in the win over Alabama, had a huge forced fumble in Georgia's come-from-behind win over Georgia Tech at the end of the season. This is a guy that just had a nose for the football and made plays time and time again. And while you might look at him and you see the safety and you see the build and think, oh, he's just sort of a gritty player, he is a great athlete, and I think that athleticism, even though he didn't get a chance to display it at the Combine, is why he's going to hear his name called on the third day of this year's NFL Draft. You know, is someone that's going to help you on special teams, be a dime defender in that regard, not necessarily an every down starting safety, but someone who can help an NFL team at the next level, just like he did throughout his career at Georgia, where he won 2 national championships. So, Dan Jackson, you are a Georgia Bulldog who is likely to hear his name in the NFL Draft. For Mike Griffith, my name is Connor Riley. This has been Dogs in the Draft, presented by Kroger.